Now Arjuna has a question that, my dear Lord, your devotees are worshipping you. So why will they attain Brahman? So then Krishna answers in text number 27. Brahmano hi pratishtha amritasya swayasya cha sasvatasya dharmasya sukhe kantikasya cha. Please read.
And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna says attaining Brahman means attaining me. So I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So attaining Brahman means attaining Krishna only. So for devotee, it's not that he merges in Brahman, he attains Krishna. And when you attain Krishna, we also attain Brahman. Because we don't attain Krishna who doesn't have a Brahman effulgence around him. Brahman effulgence is a part of Krishna's existence, which pervades the entire spiritual sky. So when we attain Krishna, we also attain that spiritual sky. So in that way, Krishna has not specifically said that we are attaining me and no, we'll have pastime. But he said we devotee attains Brahman. So in that sense, Prabhupada writes in the purport, when a living entity constrained by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. So that happens for people in general. Okay. And then Prabhupada gives the example of servant of king. So one gets that spiritual happiness. The Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. And so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotion service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotion service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotion service. So those who get Krishna automatically get Brahman realization. When the mirror of the heart is cleansed, we can see ourselves, we can see Krishna, and we can see relationship with Krishna. So for devotee, generally Brahman realization means realizing our eternal identity. So when we identify or we understand our eternal identity, who are we in the spiritual world? That is Brahman realization. Understanding the form of Krishna, how he is the owner of the world, is Paramatma Realization. And understanding our relationship with Krishna in the various rasas is Bhagavan Realization. So that is how Lord reciprocates with us. So that is how one who realizes Krishna automatically realizes Brahman. That is what Krishna wants to specify in this particular verse. That is how devotees attain Brahman means they understand their relationship with myself. So now we can take questions. So those who have questions can ask now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah. Dino Damodaran too?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Yes.
Yeah. Prabhu, we see this three modes of material nature, and then there are many devotees who knows these three modes of material nature, and then still they are in the mode of goodness, but still they act in ignorant. As a ignorant this one, like for example, we can say as Indra, he sometimes acts ignorantly, or Brahma himself, he also acts sometimes ignorantly in Brahma Vimohan Leela. So those we notice that the resultant of these modes are different. So when they act in the mode of ignorance, what could be the resultant for them?
Anybody, it's not just for Indra, Chandra, Vayu, it's true for us also. So although we are devotees, we know, we have so much of knowledge, but we do also get affected by the modes. So that's like something which we see in general. But whenever we act in modes, we get entangled. So what we have learned in this chapter are the rules and regulations. They are equally applicable for everyone. So whether it's Indra, Chandra, who are mixed devotees, or it's all of us. So unless until one comes to the level of bhava, these modes of material nature are going to act. That is why for us it's recommended at least remain in mode of goodness, because entanglement due to mode of goodness is least. It's not zero, it's least. So we are going to be bound, so let us have least be least bound. It's like a cow which is bound to the pillar. If you have a pillar, cow is bound by the rope, and cow has to be, let us say, bound to the rope. So if there is a rope which is short and rope which is very long, which rope we would like to be bound by?
Long. Long.
Long. So similarly, all devotees are universally saying, so they are having the same answer. So similarly, anyway we are going to be bound by the modes. So let us have the greatest freedom. So that freedom is provided in the mode of goodness. This simple example can be taken of a child. When parents give toy to their kids, you give him first toy, he breaks it, throws it away. Will you give him the second toy? Will be doubtful. And let us say you try for the second one, he does the same thing with third one, then third one. Then what do? You stop giving him toys. But if he give him first toy, he plays with it, shares with his friends, and utilizes properly, then we would like to give him second toy, then third toy, then fourth toy. So similarly, to the degree we break the laws of Lord by being influenced by mode of passion and ignorance, to the degree we are bound. And when we utilize the things properly, obey the laws of God, he gives more and more freedom. Okay, does it answer your question? Now, Ravinder Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I had asked this question, similar, related to this in the last class. I had asked the question. That is, when we do this sadhana bhakti, it is when we chant and then take prasadam. You had mentioned in the last class that it is in the mode of goodness, because unless we go to the bhava stage, it is still in the mode of goodness only. But today, when in the class you mentioned that, no, Prabhuji, the person who is going to transcend the modes of nature. In that, you mentioned that even when we do the activities of chanting or having prasadam and all these activities, it transcends the three modes of nature. So how should we understand these two?
Yeah. So if you remember, I gave an example of iron put in fire. So when you put iron into fire, it becomes hot as much as fire. But then if you take the iron out, it doesn't even fiery. So similarly, when we use our senses in Krishna service, they become spiritualized. So they'll naturally become spiritual when we go to the level of bhava. That's as good as fire. So till they become fire, what we have to do? We have to put our senses in contact with fire in order to make them fiery. So similarly, when we are using our senses in Krishna service and we are absorbed in that, so then we are using the gross and subtle body, which is product of three modes of material nature in Krishna service. So it becomes spiritualized. But then it's not spiritual, it is spiritualized. So there is a difference between being spiritualized and being fully spiritual.
Now, that means in that stage, do we transcend? That is, when we're doing sadhana bhakti, are we really transcending that modes, or we are like temporary? It is a temporary transcendentation.
It's a temporary transcendence, but it's temporary. See, 10 times temporary becomes a more and more time. It's like, you're absorbed in one Mahamantra, you're transcendental. Second Mahamantra, more transcendental. If you can chant whole day and remain absorbed, then whole day you're transcendental. So that is like being spiritualized for the whole day. But when we are out, we may be affected by the moods. But in the stage of bhava, it becomes natural for us. So then when bhava and prem, then it's natural. One doesn't fall to the moods again. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now Gopi Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the 14th, in the 26th shloka, in the purport, it is mentioned that one who engages in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. So even the devotees of Lord Narayan or Lord Ram or any other forms, Vishnu Tattva, the devotees are considered to be in the mode of above the mode of goodness in transcendence. But then we see that such devotees may not be following a proper bona fide Guru Parampara. They may be engaged in all kinds of even karma kanda activities as well. So how do we understand that? And how do we know?
Spiritual life begins with taking shelter of some pure devotee. Sadhu Sangha, then comes Bhajan Kriya. See, Karma Kandis, Gyan Kandis, or Upasana Kandis, so not Upasana Kandis, Karma Kandis, Gyan Kandis, and Ashtanga Yogis, they may be practicing devotional service for achieving their goal of Brahman or going to Sargaloka. So when such subsidiary goals are there, ultimate goal is not there, then their practice of bhakti is not considered devotion service. That bhakti is required to get their goal. So there is a verse in Bhagavatam which says, Nayujya manaya bhakta bhagavati akhilatmani sadro asti siva panta yoginam brahma siddhaye. So any yogi, whether it is karma yogi, jnana yogi, ashtanga yogi, na yujya manaya bhakta, they don't connect their process to bhakti of Bhagavati akhilatmani, the Lord who is the Lord within everyone's heart, akhilatma. Sadro asti siva panta yoginam brahma siddhaye. They don't get a siddhi in their path. They don't get Brahman realization. They don't get Sargaloka. So that's why for these people, they have to practice worship Vishnu for getting their goals fulfilled. But then that is not considered pure devotion service. Pure devotion service is exclusive worship of the Lord for the purpose of attaining the Lord. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. So they use bhakti. They use bhakti. They don't actually want to practice bhakti. Okay. So, and actually speaking, because this topic has come, let me tell 1-2 more points. Actually speaking, they get perfection in their path only because of bhakti. To the degree bhakti is there, to the degree they will get achievement in their path. So it's like when a child is not eating medicine, you put medicine in the mouth, in the laddu, and give to the child. And while eating laddu, he also gets the medicine. So similarly, other processes of karma, jnana, yoga are meant to just entertain the worshipper. Karma kandi. Unless until the person who is filled with material desires, you tell him how to get his material desire fulfilled, he won't be practicing any Vedic principle. So that's why so many promises are made in the scripture to bring people to the path of karma kanda. Gyan kandis. Unless until those who are gyanis, you give them opportunity to titillate their mind by using their intelligence, they will not take to Gyan Yoga. So that is just for keeping them faithful towards Gyan Yoga process. But elevation comes by practicing bhakti. Ashtanga Yogi, they want to control, they are allowed to control their mind, senses, life airs. They do Kapalbhati. But then ultimately they get elevation through bhakti. So other things are external, but ultimately they get progress by practicing bhakti only. Kanchan Varan Mataji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams.
Yes, Mataji.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
You are audible.
Prabhuji, I have one doubt, Prabhuji. As we have seen in the purport also, it is mentioned that when one leaves the body in mode of goodness, he will get the human form. And one who leaves the body in mode of passion, he will also get the human form. But in the goodness, he will get the higher form. Like that means higher planetary system, like Brahmaloka or other higher planetary system. But as means what I heard and what I understood till now, is that Prabhuji in mode of passion, if somebody is working, how he will get human form, because one has to come to the level of goodness, and that's why for us also in ISKCON also Srila Prabhupada has given that four regulative principle that at least you should come to the mode of goodness. So how Prabhuji means in mode of passion, if somebody is dying, it is a mode of passion, and mode of ignorance is not good as compared to the mode of goodness. So how someone will get means human birth, and if he's getting the human birth, what kind of human birth he gets?
So he may become a king. See, mode of passion leads to hankering for sense gratification. So hankering for sense gratification means you want to earn more and more facilities to enjoy. So then such a person, he needs an opportunity to enjoy karma or piety to further enjoy. So that's why such a person is given a human body. Because only in human body, one has an opportunity to enjoy or accumulate piety. So that opportunity is given to him in a human body. So if you tell him that no, whatever piety you have accumulated, just enjoy with that. He said not enough. I need more. So Brahmanas are in mode of goodness. Kshatriyas are in mode of passion. Vaisyas, passion and ignorance mixed. And Sudras in ignorance. So those who are Kshatriyas, they are in mode of passion. Why? Because they want a lot of control, they want power, they want a kingdom, they have intense desire to enjoy. So then such people, they need a lot of passion. You need a lot of passion to maintain such a big praja, deal with so many issues coming from morning till evening. Like for many devotees within ISKCON, you make them temple president, they'll say no. Especially those who are brahmachari, they know the pitiable situation of a temple president. He has to work so hard. In one of the temples, they were not getting a temple president. So they found one brahmachari was consistently serving there for 8 years. But he would never talk to anyone. From morning till evening, just be engaged in different services. So they asked from him that, no, will you like to become a temple president? So this person who hardly spoke for last 8 years said no. Because he knows what are troubles for a temple president. So trouble for kings are too much of trouble. But some people who have a lot of passion would like to do that. So then such people are given the birth of a king in the next life. And they get a human body. So that desire to accumulate piety, that opportunity is given to them by giving a human body on the earth. That opportunity is not there in the heavenly planets. Okay.
Prabhuji, again then about the kings, the Kshatriyas who die in the battlefield, we learned that Swargadaram Aparitam means they will get the heavenly planets. So if they are dying in that mode of passion, also they will get the higher planets, no Prabhuji?
Yeah, they will enjoy, but again they will come back and they'll again like to become a human being and some king here also. See, Kshatriyas don't like to be ruled. Kshatriyas can't serve under anyone. So they rule, they don't get ruled. So they're heroes. They can't live like ordinary people. Why did Krishna ask 5 villages for the Pandavas? Because Pandavas being Kshatriyas can't live like ordinary people. So Kshatriyas need a rule, they need a kingdom. So either it may be a small village, they may become a sarpanch there. or they may become a king, or they may become an emperor. But they need some praja, they need some rule. So they may go enjoy there, but then they'll come back. Like that. See, actually, one thing is, modes are very mixed. They are not like just so much black and white the way we think. So in general, they are mixed. Like one of my famous questions, which is not answered till now, but I got some clue of that now. I asked from many Prabhupada disciples also, senior GVCs. That Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that no urdhav gachanti satvastha, you are in Sattva-guna, you go to higher planetary system. Then who becomes lower species in the higher planetary system? Like trees, animals there, birds there, who becomes the such lower species? That means there is a mixture. Mixture means there is Sattva-guna, but there has to be some mixture of ignorance also. That is why they go there. Like who becomes the resident of Bilsvarga? You remember I told about Divya Bhusvarga, Bilsvarga. So who becomes the person resident of Bilsvarga? People who have desires of ignorance, but they have accumulated piety. So then they don't like Shastri Sangeet. They go to Sargloka, they'll become bored there. They want some rock music, some pop music. So then they have to go to lower planetary system. They don't like Somras, which is very refined beverage. They want to drink some strong desi liquor. Tadi. तो चाहिए ताड़ी पीने के लिए, you go down. They want gross enjoyment, they don't want subtle enjoyment. So they go to gross place. You have more gross bodies. So things are mixed in this world. So that's why only Yamraj is qualified to deal with it. So no, so all of us we are not qualified to become Yamraj. Say Prabhu Mamta Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The question here is, while we, all of us here are practicing Krishna consciousness and trying to be in the mode of goodness and also elevate from the mode of goodness towards Krishna consciousness. So there is a constant thought or a question which is there in my mind, which a while ago Dino Prabhu also asked and Anu Prabhuji has also asked today. So what is that which is still stopping us to do? It's like a passion or an ignorance within us which is stopping us to take a particular action when we know that it's already there. For example, the other day, Madhavendra Prabhuji also asked what kind of education we have to give to our children when we know for sure that the education system which is there going around and which we give to our kids, it's not apt and we don't utilize to our fullest. For example, now after being at 40 years, I have not utilized my fullest of my education. So what is that? The other day you answered saying it's the risk that you take in life. And today you answered saying how you advertise yourself. So what is that stopping us, Prabhuji? Because we see terms like stickiness. For example, if there is a new phone or a new car or something, we are too much attached or stickiness towards it. But when it comes to other matters like these important matters in terms of Krishna consciousness, when it is right there, the pleasure, the higher taste is there, why are we not able to take the decision? Is it our karma or what exactly is it? Or we are still bound with something?
We are bound by modes, no doubt about it. And also there is a inertia coming in so many lifetimes. So it takes time to come out of that inertia. Like once in a football match, one of the teams, they had their goalkeeper retired hurt. So they were looking for a goalkeeper. So they were searching here and there. They couldn't find a player. Finally, they found one man they were going through and they found one man in the vegetable market. It's very carefully. Somebody was throwing the watermelons from the truck. This fellow was catching each of the watermelon without missing it and keeping it back on the shop. So first, second, third, practically 100 of the watermelons. So he would take it, put it in the shop, even without looking at it. where it is falling off. It would just go in the right place. They thought he's the best man. They caught him, kept him as a goalkeeper. And really the match was very adventurous. And the opponent party came, shot the ball. He caught it as expected. People were amazed, no, how could he catch such a ball? But then what he did, due to his previous appetite, he took it and he kept it back in the goal. He himself did the goal with his hand. So that's called inertia. That's called inertia. So similarly, we have that inertia in so many lifetimes. So it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So it's not so easy. So in general, because of that inertia, these conditionings are there. So it takes some time. But only thing is, but to the degree we remain in a association of good devotees, to that degree we can overcome it.
But being with good devotees also, when we, let's say for the same example, which I keep asking, like the same example if we take today, the education system, when I ask, I would like to move my kid to a Gurukul system, or let's say to Mayapur or to Pune or anywhere, what are your thoughts? So they don't give a straightforward answer. So we don't get a straightforward answer in terms of like, there are positives, there are pros and cons. It's all, what is your ultimate goal? Do you want your kid to be materialistic or whatever it is? I'm just giving an example. For example, when we go to buy a car from a showroom, we know for sure that this is the cost of the car. This is what we are looking at. And then they leave the decision to us. So, but why is there a constant fear within us? It's just the inertia, or is there anything else, or is there no faith in us? We don't trust the system. What exactly is it?
See, one of the practical reasons is system is not yet evolved. Makes sense? It's like when you create a system, those who are pioneer to create the system, they have to take a risk. So pioneers always have to take a risk. So currently, when it comes to Varnashram system, ISKCON is not evolved. That's the truth. So Prabhupada, when he created this Gurukul system, he was expecting these Gurukulis who pass out will be the pioneers for creating Vedic Varnashram community. And till now, we don't find a community which is so successful that 2-3 generations have passed away. Because ISKCON has not gone through many years. So if certain community where 2-3 generations have passed away and they're successful in having a self-sustainable community, then we can say, okay, you send your son to Gurukul, your daughter to Gurukul, they'll pass out from the Gurukul, they'll be part of this particular community. If that is not there, what happens is, they may not be people who have enough skills to go and fight with the troubles in the outside world. But that is not taught in the Gurukul. So then you need something which is called a hybrid. Hybrid means you get the values of spiritual values and you teach them material education. So this all thing have to be individually being decision has to be taken by the parents. So if we had an evolved system, then devotees could have spoken very confidently.
Yeah.
But somehow we don't have that evolved system. So that's the truth.
But Prabhuji, isn't it like we're showing the same hindrance? For example, in today's world, even if my child is going to a materialistically, very aggressive school, they are not actually taught much. We are just showing that hindrance within amongst ourselves that we are not. Our children are not actually whatever they are teaching, they're grasping and they're growing, but they are not actually molding themselves there. We're just showing. We're not showing confidence in our system. It looks like that. Because even in materialistically when they go, whatever materialistically what I have studied, I'm not implementing that, but just that I've grown out of those years, and if a person really has that matter in them, they will grow out of that. But we are just not being very confident about our system. And when we go to like I studied in a Christian missionary college, and whatever they promote, they're just showing confidence that this will materially fetch them what is required for them. But we're just putting hindrances to our own selves, saying that our system is not so strong, right?
See, main thing is that's truth. In the sense that actually practically these things have happened. What happened is some of the devotees who pass out from some of our Gurukuls, so now they are selling sugarcane juice here and there on the streets. So even the Mayapur Gurukul today, now they are teaching some more subjects. So one of my devotee friends only, actually he was 2-3 years junior to me in IIT Kharagpur. He's a brahmachari from our temple, Calcutta. So he's going and creating the courses for them. So since last 1.5 years, staying in the Gurukul, Mayapur Gurukul, and is creating the courses. So why that is needed now? Their feeling is that they're feeling that many of these boys, they are not absorbed in the Mayapur community. Those who are absorbed in Mayapur community are doing pretty well. But many of the devotees, when they are going out, they are not able to deal with the outside world. So that is a gross truth. That's a gross truth. So fine, 90% of our education may be waste, whatever we have studied. It is just useless waste of time. But despite that, at least 10% was there, because of that devotees can go out and they are able to have some skills. It's basically a matter of skills. If that skill set can be taught in the Gurukul, then you'll call it a hybrid. That is where in between schools are. But devotee children are only teaching the material subjects, and they have their Mangal Arti, Narsingh Arti, Tulsi Arti in their schools. That is their what do we say? We used to have in the school days.
Morning
What do we
prayers.
used to call it?
Assembly prayers.
Assembly prayers. So that is your assembly. You have Mangal Arti, Narsingh Arti, Tulsi Arti, and then you go through all the subjects, and then there are some values inculcated between the children. So that is like, so that's why in Mayapur you have this Bhaktivedanta Purnamada Gurukul is also there, and there is Bhaktivedanta National School, International School is also there. So National International School is more like a hybrid, and this Bhaktivedanta Purnamada Gurukul is like a core, where people should pass out and they should become a part of a Vedic Varnashram community. So they are doing, many of these kids who are passing out, they are good leaders in the Mayapur community today. But it's not true with everyone. Those who wanted to go back, so they have a trouble. Many of them are absorbed in the community itself. So if you can have such communities like that throughout the world, then we can have it anywhere. We can be very confident. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I have one more clarification regarding hearing and reading. Which one is superior, Prabhuji? For example, when we hear lectures, is that better? Or just listening to, when we read, we have a lot of websites which have recitation. So when you recite, hear it is better or saying it is better, Prabhuji?
So both are required. Like when you take prasad, so you take sambar or rice, which is better, rice or sambar?
A mixture.
Both. So similarly, we need both reading and hearing. So especially, so we have to hear. Hearing is beneficial. At the same time, devotees should also read Prabhupada books. So why reading Prabhupada books is so essential? Because Prabhupada books are the basis. Otherwise, many times what happens is certain wrong notions, they travel in the society without having any philosophical basis. So certain concepts do get, they travel here and there. Like for example, one particular conception at a point of time was very popular was that don't hear from anyone, hear from only one person. But if you go through Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vande Guru Ne Se Bhaktan, Guru means many gurus. So you can have many Shiksha Gurus. Prabhupada makes very clear. But then they would emphasize, no, only one Shiksha Guru. So this particular concept was getting very much floated. And this was happening because many of these devotees were not reading Prabhupada books regularly. So then for the safety purpose, the leader said, if they hear only from me, they'll stay only with me. Otherwise, they may go anywhere else. So that would create a security for the leader. And certainly he may be having some bad experiences where people go out and they become contaminated because of some other association. But then that is not the philosophy. So that's why reading Prabhupada books is also very important and hearing is also important. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare. Now 2 more questions are there. Nandi Mukhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you just tell how do devotees realize Paramatma realization? You mentioned that now in the end.
Yeah. So Paramatma realization is how it is higher than Brahman realization. First realization is the form, the Lord as a form. So one devotee realizes that Krishna has a beautiful form. And second thing also, devotees, Paramatma is basically is dealing with matter. So when devotees realize that Krishna is the ultimate person, who is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this world. So this is another feature of Paramatma realization. And devotees realize that as soon as they deal with Krishna. Okay.
Prabhuji, you told how Brahman realization means understanding of our spiritual identity, and Bhagwan realization means having to know our rasa with the Lord. So, how you told even for Paramatma realization something, Prabhuji?
And these two features I told. One is the form of the Lord, one realizes. Because when you see Krishna, you see his form. And second is we understand that Krishna is creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this world. So these two features are the features of Paramatma features. They are automatically present in Bhagwan feature of Krishna. So that is what I meant. For Paramatma Vadis, they just realize the form of the Lord. They realize themselves. Who are they? Their form. And they realize the laws dealing with the three modes of material nature. So then they go to three Paramatmas. Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Chirodaksha Vishnu. They may not have that person dealing with the Lord. Okay. Is clear now? Okay. Now Murli Vadan Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna is done from Prabhuji. Prabhuji, while explaining the sloka number 14.16, he quoted in Bhagavatam sloka, wherein it says, by one person is working very hard to get the little bit pressure. Can you give me the reference, Prabhuji?
So just wait for 1 minute. It's from third canto, but you have to wait for a minute. I'll see. This 3.8.2.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
3.8.
Thank you.
Uma Tanuja Umapati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams.
Yes.
Prabhuji, you said the ways we can develop the mode of goodness by association as is the first, and following the regulative principles. But sometimes among friends and relatives, you will get into different kinds of modes. Time, place, and circumstance also will pull you into different modes. So how do we stay neutral in such situations?
Plan. We have to plan ourselves. So Bhakti Raghav Maharaj, he speaks this famous statement so many times. He says, devotee always goes out with a plan. So we have to plan to deal with things without getting affected. That's all. So how to plan? So that we can consult with our mentors, devotees near us. That we go meet them, we influence them rather than getting not influenced. And also Prabhupada, that's why he created both the morning program and evening program for that purpose. So morning program you get spiritually surcharged. We remain spiritually vibrant, but despite that we become affected because we are vulnerable to the three modes of material nature. But when we become contaminated by the three modes of material nature, we come back and we have an evening program. So we again become surcharged. Okay, so that's the way.
Thank you.
No more questions now. We'll end here. So now, tomorrow, I had to make two announcements. So one is group number 7, 8, 9 will present in the next class. And also very important announcement about the OBAs. So same mistake devotees have repeated again, whatever we had announced. So devotees are not reading the questions properly. So when I was checking the OBS yesterday, I was really frustrated. I kept the OBS aside. Devotees made such silly mistake, you can't even imagine. We were supposed to refer to Bhagavad-Gita 8.14. One devotee has referred to 18.14. At least you need patience to see the verse number properly. Another devotee has referred to 8.4. He couldn't find the answer in 8.4 because the question from 8.14, and he speculated the whole answer and presented the whole answer. So this is something so basic which we are expecting. Read the answer properly and have some patience. It seems other devotees are answering in the late in the night where they have rolling eyes and they are half intoxicated by sleep. Something like that is happening, or they want to finish off very quickly. So this is something most of the devotees are doing. Looks like that. So really miserable. Oh, I thought, what to check now? You have messed something wrong. So 8.14 is not 18.14. It's not 8.4. It's 8.14. Now what has this one done with all of you that you are now dropping down one? So it's 8.14. So refer to 8.14. So this one mistake devotees are making again and again. And introduction and conclusion are sometimes so big. So introduction and conclusion should not exceed 4 lines. Introduction is an introduction. It's not the passage. Conclusion is conclusion. It's not a passage. So don't make it a passage. Don't write half a page of introduction, half a page of conclusion, and then 4 lines of the answer. So don't write introduction like answer, answer like introduction. The second mistake devotees are doing. And then many devotees are not paraphrasing the things. Paraphrasing means when a pastime is too big, you can write in your own words in 3-4 lines. We don't have to write half page of pastime. Also, one more thing about personal application. Personal application means a plan how we will personally apply in our own life. So many devotees have written how they have already applied in their own life. Personal application means how will you apply it, not that how you have already applied it. So fine, we know that all the devotees are 1600 devotees, good devotees, following 4-day principle. You must have applied certain things. But that is not what we expect in the answer. We expect how will you improve. So fine, 1 or 2 points may be made already you're applying, but the majority of that should be how one has already applied, what are his plans to apply those things in his own life. Now that may not certainly always need some extra time. That may need an increase of quality also. Because many of the verses which we spoke is just to increase the quality. The quality of hearing, the quality of chanting. So we can do that. So unfortunately, many of devotees have done this mistake. So the answer is, before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was so fallen. I used to do this, that. But as written in this verse, I have changed myself. And I am doing this. That's not what we expect. What we expect is whatever already you are doing, how will you use this verse in your personal application to enhance the quality? It may not be you don't have time for quantity, but at least quality of your practice. So that is what we were expecting. So many devotees have not written that. So now when you are writing OBS, please write it properly. So certainly many devotees will get a message now to rewrite their answers. Especially the ones who have not even read the questions properly. So please read the digits very properly. So fine, we don't have to be a mathematician to read the digits or the verse number very properly. Even your kid can do that. So please read the question properly. Yeah, Tilak Pro.
Oh, I didn't change my name. It's my birth name. Anyways, Prabhu, so then have the OBAs then all been marked, or
No, not few of them.
so will all the marks be released at once, or will we progressively be told our marks?
So I think as far as your OBS of first unit are concerned, so some of the OBS already Maharaj Prabhu has given to Anand Sesh Prabhu. So I think those OBS he is going to give something like that. And then so for progressive. For myself, I'm yet in progress. It is taking time actually. Generally, it takes very less time, but the way OBS is being written, it's taking time.
Okay, yeah. So I was just wondering. So we will all get it one go later on.
See, for few devotees, whom I think is now immediately I have to tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just send the WhatsApp number. On the WhatsApp, I'll send them that no, please rewrite your question. So for them immediately I'll give feedback. So it may be progressive. But for majority of the devotees who have done the same mistakes, and so then that will be given collectively.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, go. Okay, so we'll take a leave here. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki Shil Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna.